Hello guys, what is up? Welcome to a new video. Sorry I haven't uploaded in quite a while. I had a little Christmas break. I forgot to take that down. But yeah, hopefully sometime in the future there'll be a nice big canvas there of like some GTRs that I found. So yeah, but anyway guys, this is another Tech Talk video, and today we're going to be talking about setups. Now, this is a little bit, no, wrong thing. As by the title, we're going to be doing about RAM. Now, RAM is a big thing in a computer. If you don't know what RAM is, it's basically, it's not what runs it, but it plays a big part in how fast your computer is. And the more RAM you have, the better your computer is going to be. You don't need to go overkill like 128 gigabyte, but I would say if you want an OP computer, get 16 gig or 32 gig. Some people go with 64, but I don't really see the point in getting 64, as it is a little bit too big. 32 will do fine, and unless you're doing a lot of editing. If you edit for a job, then I understand why a 64 gigabyte of RAM will be a good thing, just because it will render your videos in probably shorter than the video length, which is amazing. Like normally, if you have an hour video, or say like a 10-minute video, it'll probably take 20 to 30 minutes with with 8 gig of RAM or 4 maybe. It would probably take about, and like it would probably take about it'll probably be about 3 to 4 times longer than the video it would take to render on 4 gig of RAM. I've actually got 8 gig of RAM on my computer, just because that's fine for me for gaming. Most games don't need to run at 16 gigabytes. Like the main ones, like GTA, that doesn't need it. That's fine at 8. But it really just depends on your graphics card, to be honest. That is something I need to upgrade in the future, because my old one broke, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll probably just get like NVIDIA GTX 970. No, that's a bit big. Don't want to pay £600 for a graphics card. That would be the one I would go to if I could afford it. They cost like £900, and I'm not spending that much on a graphics card for a computer that I don't really game on. So yeah. So going back to RAM, almost slipped. Going back to RAM. So yeah, the more RAM you have, the better your computer is going to be. Like I know some people go mad with RAM and put 128 gig, 64 gig bit of RAM in, and all that. Like, but to be honest, you don't need it. Unless I just said you're doing editing, then it's understandable. Like if you're doing professional editing, like if you don't really edit films, well, I guess you would edit on a computer, but you wouldn't be using a gaming computer, to be honest, for if they're doing a film, is what I was meant to say. But anyway, guys, yeah, so today, RAM. So most gaming computers, mine has 8, some have 16, some have 32, and some have 64. Right, so gigabytes. If you don't know what a gigabyte is, it's 1,000 megabytes. If you don't know what a megabyte is, it's 1,000 kilobytes, and then so on and so on. I don't know what's after a kilobyte, to be honest, because I think that's one of the smallest things they can do, but yeah. So a gigabyte is just 1,000 megabytes and 1,000 kilobytes. So no, it can't be that. I don't know how many megabytes, because most things don't run in megabytes anymore. I remember the old PS2 things, they used to be 8 megabytes, the old save cards, what they were. But yeah, so the more RAM you have, but it really just depends on how many slots your computer has. Mine only has 2, so I just have 2 4 gig byte of RAM in it, and that works fine for me. It runs most games. Like, I don't know, it runs Garry's Mod fine. It runs what's it called, CSGO fine. It runs Just Cause 1, Just Cause 2. I don't know what's up with it. I just had to request a refund for it because it wouldn't load at all. It was saying that my DirectX sound card was wrong, like it had been formatted wrong. But to be honest, sound cards is not something that is going to be the next topic. Do you need a sound card? So yeah, that will be the next topic that I'm going to be doing next Wednesday. So yeah, I hope you've all had a nice Christmas anyway, got everything you want and had a nice New Year. But yeah, going back to it, so yeah, it runs CSGO, runs Garry's Mod, 8GB of RAM. Like, I'm just going to load up Steam, just to see what most games run on it. Alright, we've already got it up. So, right, oh yeah, right, let's go through all my games. So we've got Garry's Mod, that runs it. Just Cause 2, that doesn't run, just because of my graphics card. Tactical Invasion, that runs it fine. Team Fortress 2 and Warframe, they all run it fine even. Right, so let's go into the store and go on to featured even. And, right, so let's get a game that would need a lot, like, let's get a main game. So say, I hate doing this every time, you have to put in a date, right? So let's go in GTA, and so the required thing is 8GB of RAM, Intel i5, which is what most gaming computers have. Some OP ones have Intel i7, the overclockable one. I mean, this one here that it links, it's an Intel Core i5 347 or 3.2 gigahertz. That's the clock speed. That one isn't the overclockable one. They do a new one which is like 3.0 gigahertz, which is overclockable, and you can either get one that has 4 cores or 8 cores. Again, that's just, the more cores you have, the most expensive it is. The most you can have is I think it's 12 cores. You might be able to have more, but I don't know. So yeah, DirectX compatible, DirectX 10. So that will be a good thing. Make sure your sound card has that. My error was DirectX 15, which I'd never heard of. I looked it up and it looked like Just Cause 2 had a lot of problems, so I just got a refund because I couldn't be bothered to fix it. Right, so yeah, 8GB of RAM, and the minimum thing that you would need to run this game is 4GB of RAM. I used to have 4 and then I upgraded it. 4 is fine for doing normal stuff, not natural stuff. Like browsing the web. If you don't do a lot of gaming, and if you do gaming but not like, you don't run games that are mental, like Crysis 3. Like Crysis 3 is just a mad game to run. Most gaming computers don't run it. I mean, I'm surprised it was even out on 360, because if most £900, £10,000 gaming computers don't run it. I'm surprised the 360 ran it. I used to have it and it ran absolutely fine. The graphics were amazing. That's the only problem with it. You have to have an amazing graphics card, either like a 970, 980, Titan. I wouldn't recommend a Titan. Unless you really didn't care about the price, because £3,000 is a bit much for a graphics card. Right, let's just go on Crysis. I don't go on Crysis 3. Okay, that's a bit weird. I've only got Crysis Warhead, Crysis 2, and Crysis. That's weird. Right, let's look at Crysis 2 and see the requirements. Yeah, it is mad what you need to have on this. Oh, no. No, it's not that bad to be honest, but it's a... No, that's the wrong one. That's a weird one. They haven't got Crysis 3 on Steam. You know, you learn something new every day. But as you can see, most games take advantage of how much RAM you have, and the more the better. But it really does just depend on what how many slots you have. My computer only has 2, unfortunately. It's just because it's quite a small computer. Even though it's a beast, it is really small. To be honest, I don't see the point in having huge cases that are as tall as your desk, just because, yeah, it's just mad. Like, the motherboard you have would cost like £100 because it's so big and it's like a meter, square meter, but, yeah, it's just stupid having a massive case. Like, to be honest, you don't even need a massive case. I have an Intel i5, 8GB of RAM, GTX 750, I think it is, in there, and that runs everything smoothly, in a small case, doesn't overheat, got loads of fans in there, so, yeah. I wanted to liquid cool it, but, to be honest, liquid cooling is not the safest thing to do. If it leaks, you wreck all your stuff and it can't be reused, and you have to get a new computer, and that isn't something that you would want to be doing. So, yeah, so going back to this, guys, so, yeah, RAM is a very important thing in your computer. It's almost as important as having a CPU. So, yeah, if you don't have RAM, then you're pretty much screwed. Like, you used to be able to get 510 megabytes of RAM, which is what most old computers have. There's one downstairs that I had, and it has obviously been upgraded, because it has 2GB of RAM, and that wouldn't have been what it comes with originally. It would have had 510 megabyte of RAM, which is crazy to think how people could use that, because, like, today, especially my computer, like, as soon as I double click on it, Microsoft Edge is up and running straight away. But yeah, I know, it's 760, that's it, yeah. But yeah, it's just mental, but it just shows how much RAM does, I'm just going to keep that up just because it puts a little bit of light on my face, because I haven't got my light on. Don't worry. But yeah, and so yeah, guys, that is really about it. I'm just going to add this light here, just to light up the screen a bit. But yeah, that is really it. RAM is a very important thing, and if you don't have it, then yeah, it can be quite expensive. Let's go for the price. I'm just gonna load up PC World, because I know they have all their prices on their RAM. It can be called memory. The newer version, no, it's not really newer. Yeah, so the newer versions of RAM are just called memory, but if you look at it on a computer. Right, so, oh yeah, I need to go through DDR. DDR1 is slow. I have DDR4 in mine, which is amazing. I've got yeah, that is the one I have. Well, no, that's expensive. I didn't pay that much for it. But it's Corsair Vengeance, CL8, and CML8. GX3M28, 1600, C9, DDR3, PC RAM. Oh no, I have the DDR4 version, and I've only got 4GB. That will be why it's less expensive. But normally RAM is quite expensive. Like, you can get this DDR3 integral 8GB of RAM, sodium RAM, which there's sodium, and then there's DIMM. It's quite confusing about them, but to be honest, it's just what your motherboard can handle, and it's just the megahertz actually. DIMM has a lot more hertz, and that's the main one that you would have. It's that long strip. That's the one that I have, and it works fine. But it really does just depend on your motherboard, because the sodium RAM is little. It's only about this big, and it's a lot wider. The other one's only about that big. But yeah, mine's got some like cool plate over it. Like, it's a heatsink, not cool plate. But yeah, heatsinks are like, they're just things that keep it cool looking and cold as well. Like, you can get these like fake ones, which just have like stickers on it. which is quite funny to see sometimes. Like there's this one here, it has Ball Stick on it, and why would you name your company Ball Stick? Like, really? It's BALLSTIX, but even still, who names their company Ball Stick? Pretty good. But yeah, so from DDR1 it goes up to DDR5, I believe. DDR5 is just so overpriced. Like for RAM, you'd be able to see it in some games how much RAM does take over. Like this DDR2 1GB of RAM, sodium RAM. I wouldn't waste £18 on that. Next time I do Tech Talk, I need to get a drink. I'm just gonna pause it for a minute. We're 15 minutes in, but I really need a drink, so I'll be back. Right, so sorry, I was a bit unorganised, but so yeah, getting some. Right, so I think I was talking about DDR. So yeah, DDR, it goes from DDR1 to DDR5. DDR5 is OP and very expensive, but it runs everything. It is just so fast. DDR5. DDR4 is quick, like super quick, but on Geekbench or something, it is hugely fast. Right, so yeah, going back to DDR. So yeah, DDR5 is hugely expensive, and I would recommend it if you have a lot of money and you don't really have a budget. But most budget PC builders, like myself, normally use DDR4. Just because it's about £30-40, can be £60-70 cheaper. It is just immensely expensive. So yeah, if you're thinking to yourself, I've already gone through this a little bit, how much RAM should I get? I would probably say for gaming, get either 2 sticks of 4 DDR4 RAM as well. Make it sure. Well, check your motherboard first, but make sure that it is DDI-MM RAM. But yeah, and check the hertz as well. The more hertz, the better. But check your power supply, because you don't want having dead RAM on a motherboard, because your PC probably wouldn't turn on. That might be a good idea. See what happens if you run your computer with no RAM. I'm going to test that in a video and see what happens. Just take my RAM out my computer and see what happens. I think that would be quite cool to do. But yeah, project I do want to do is try and fix my computer downstairs, because it has a really nice case on it, and it's really sad that it's broken. The power supply is just dead. It's just died. It is so old though. It has 1GB of RAM, Intel Core Duo, which is one of Intel's first CPUs that they made. So yeah, that kind of gives you a little insight of how old it is. And Intel is now about 17 years old. I know it started in the early 1990s. I think it started in about 1994. But yeah, I keep on going off subject. But yeah, so yeah, if you're editing, get 64. Just get 2 sticks of DDR5, 32GB RAM sticks. They'll probably come up to about £130. But to be honest, if you want your videos to render, say you have an hour video, it'll probably take about 30 minutes to render, and if you have a 10-minute video, it'll take less than 5, which is amazing for YouTube. If you are doing YouTube and you use your PC just for YouTube editing videos, I would definitely recommend having at least 32GB of RAM, DDR5. If you are really into editing and YouTube is your main job and all you do is use your computer all day, I would definitely have DDR5. If I could have any computer in the world, I've already been through this, but this is for another video. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything about that. But yeah, so going back to this, so 2, if you really don't use your computer for gaming, you just want to go on the web and you want it to be quite fast, when I got this computer, I had 2 gig. Then I upgraded to another 2 gig, so I had 4 gig. Then I swapped them both out and just put 8 gig, 8 gig of DDR4. Now it did have like DDR2, which is just so slow. It takes about, well, it wasn't actually that slow to be honest. But yeah, also RAM helps when you're multitasking, so you have like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 or 6 tabs open at once. It just means going through them and open up more pages is a lot faster, but the more pages you have, the slower your computer is going to be, as obvious. Like, it's just trying to run loads of things at once. But yeah. So guys, for gaming, right, so I'm just going to round it off now and do a little summary. For not doing much, I would probably recommend getting DDR3. That's normally the main one. Just get 2 gig. If you do a little bit of editing and a little bit of gaming, but nothing major like GTA, and you don't really have a decent graphics card, like you just have one, you haven't upgraded it at all, it will probably be like a cheap Intel one, but to be honest, cheap Intel ones aren't that bad. My old one was clocked at 505 megahertz, which is not too bad to be honest. I did try overclocking it, but it didn't really work, so I just bought a new one. That could have been what broke it, to be honest, but yeah, that really doesn't matter. It was only a cheap one anyway, so yeah, I guess, because I didn't buy it, obviously. So yeah, so browsing the web we've done. If you're doing slight editing and you don't really care about how fast your RAM is, how fast your rendering speed is, and you just want to play light games, 4 gig will be fine for you. If you want something that will run most games and be quick at editing, 8 GB of RAM is perfect. For the price, you probably get the best bang for your buck. I think that's the saying. But yeah, DDR3 again is fine, but DDR4 is better. But it will be more expensive, of course. And then 16 gigs, so you get 2 sticks of 8 GB of RAM. Is amazing. It will run every game you throw at it. But normally, if you have 16 GB of RAM, you normally need to have a good graphics card if you are gaming. That's why I didn't go with the 16, just because it would have been expensive. Like, if I was to buy it now, the Corsair Vengeance, 8 GB of RAM, DDR3, it would be £75. 2 of them is not cheap. £145 or £140 or something. That isn't cheap. So, yeah, especially for 2 sticks of RAM. Yeah, this video is a bit over 20 minutes, but feel free to skip along or whatever. I should have said that at the beginning, but well. So yeah, and then going on to 32 GB of RAM. 32 will be amazingly quick for editing, surfing the web, gaming, anything that you throw at it, as long as your power supply is big. Like, to be honest, you're probably better off if you don't care about how much your bill is, because power supplies can take up a lot of your bill, especially if you have 1,000. I'm not sure what it is. 1,000 volts. Yeah, if you have 1,000 volts power supply, I don't have one of them, because I think my dad would probably kill me with how much the bill would be each month. But yeah, because to be honest, like, I would probably say that a 500 watt one would be perfect for doing it, for having 32 GB of RAM. And then, yeah, so it'd be perfect for everything. Then having 2 sticks of 32 GB of RAM, you're going to get up there in the 400 mark. I'm just going to have a look. I'm just going to set both of these 0 to 9999. Let's do 200. Right, so 32. DDR5. Why am I not typing 32? Does it bring up a PS4? Oh yeah, guys, talking about PS4s, I did get one for Christmas. So yeah, I don't do any. But yeah, 32 sticks are expensive. Normally you just have, I haven't, wait, you can't actually get a 32 gig stick. You just have 4 sets of 8, and then just make sure you have enough room in your motherboard, because there's nothing worse than spending loads of money on a bunch of 8 gig sticks and not having enough room in your motherboard. I've bumped into that thing once, but it wasn't that bad because it was only a gig stick and it cost about £2. So yeah. But yeah, just be careful and make sure to check your motherboard when you are doing this. But yeah, when I typed in 32 gig of DDR5, the only thing that came up was Corsair mice. But yeah. DDR2 RAM is overpriced. Like this one here, 2GB of RAM, DDR2, 800 megahertz of RAM is £22. Ah, dearie me. This kid. Oh wait, 10 minutes. So yeah, this video's been longer than 30 minutes. So yeah, so on and so on. For price, and then if you want to have 8 times 8 of RAM, DDR5 will give you 64. I think you would probably have to have a PC case. I know Asus do actually do a motherboard that do have 10 slots for RAM, so you can actually upgrade it to 128 gig, which is fine. I'm not even going to talk about 128 gig because it just blows my mind how much RAM you can have a computer. But 64 will just do you perfect. Run every game, render videos so fast, surfing the web. You probably click on something, it'll already be there. Like, it is just mental fast. If you have a good CPU, say Intel i7 with 64GB of RAM, you have got yourself one hell of a beast. Yeah, with a good graphics card, like, I'm kind of going into my next video, my dream computer. I did this the other day, but it didn't go too well. Well, the other week even. It didn't go too well, because I was just I was just talking a lot, is what I'm going to say, because I couldn't think of the word. But yeah, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment what I should do for the next Tech Talk. Do you want me to do console reviews? Actually, I got the 1TB version of my PS4, just because people were saying that the 500GB, you download about 10 games and all your storage is already gone. Because I know games now are taking advantage of how big storage you can have, and most games now are like 60 gig. So yeah, so thanks guys again. Comment for what I should do next, and yeah, bye.